All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Grizzly Talk. Here with your host, at Mike on the mic. I got our first special guest here today, Mr. Joseph Fornes. You may know him as Mr. Jose Pitts.
Yep.
And of course, we got David with us here today
David Alvarez F _ on Instagram.
on Instagram. And today we want to give you guys a little bit of a story on my friend Joseph here. Super interesting story that we're going to get into, and hopefully you guys can get to know him a little bit better. So bro, thank you for making it on today,
sure,
bro.
brother.
I really appreciate it. And bro, I kind of wanted to get into get everybody to learn a little bit more about you, man. And hopefully today you'll be able to give your story. And
for sure.
Bro,
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I love it, man. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure, honor to be here. Any opportunity to just give something, the story or a nugget or a testimony, something that someone can pull something from or be able to just share is always like an honor for me. So I'm happy to be here, man. But it's been a great ride, wild ride, least to say. But I don't know how far back you want me to go, but I'll kind of go back to as a kid for me, and how my journey started. I'm a full-time trader, full-time father, full-time husband. And so for me, though, my story goes way back to when I was a kiddo. Really, 5 years old, playing business in my room. My brothers were more the Legos and Power Rangers, and I'm in my room. I have a briefcase. I have a notepad. I'm like writing out business names, business ideas. And so I've always been a hustler. I've always been a grinder. I've always had that seed of entrepreneurship in me. And I've always had that desire to do something great,
Well, that's what's crazy, bro, is because, I'm pretty sure I've told you this, but you're actually what sparked that in me. Because when I met you, I was freshman in college. I only did a semester. But I say I'm a freshman in college, but
I did 3 days.
You
did better than me.
Hey, I did a semester. I got it done.
You
But
guys both did more than me. I didn't even get a letter in my mail.
Oh, hey,
didn't even
it's
get
all
the
good.
rejection letter, huh?
I was trying to be a mechanic, and that never came through.
Man,
man, it's okay. Hey.
Well, I remember my plan was go to college. I wanted to get a job as a bank teller.
Yeah.
And then kind of follow in my brother's footsteps because he went that route and he's, doing super well.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the only way. And so you're actually one of the first people that, introduced me to dude, there's so much more out there. There's so many more possibilities. So
100%. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is, man. I mean, I realized as a kid, what kind of a question I would think of is what kind of life do I want to live when I'm older?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to just dive right in, but this is
part
of my story here. But it's being a kid, wanting to be an entrepreneur and pretending to play business and be a business owner, wear suits. I tell my parents will you buy me a suit, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's funny.
I want to have a suit and feel official, and it was different, man. Even then, the kids are out playing basketball, and I'm in my room running numbers, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing? Come, get outside." What's going on? And I'm just this excites me, dude. I'm that kid in my room and in the lab, so to speak, and I was just already working, and I'm a man of faith, and I know that was God, putting seeds in my life to eventually turn into what I've constantly been working at now, and being an entrepreneur and a trader and a father and a husband and stuff. So that all started back then, but it's such a journey, right? But it's a beautiful journey,
Yeah.
And I think
all the ups and downs and
100%, man.
Yeah.
I think if we can just as people just enjoy the journey more, man. I think we live in such a result driven society, and that's good. To desire a good result, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? But most people miss the most important part, and that's the journey.
And that's
who you
the journey.
become through that, bro. Because through that, who you become lays that foundation to build everything else that you're going to do.
Yeah.
And so, for me to keep it, in line here without jumping too far ahead, but,
yeah.
So I always had those things I was working on, as a kid in business and entrepreneurship, and came into elementary school, Fugman Elementary, right?
We both went there. Yeah.
And I remember in 5th grade, I had Mr. Souza
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we had I think it was the first and last year they did it. I don't know if your grade did it or not.
Yeah, I don't think, or maybe I just wasn't introduced to it.
I don't
but
think so, bro.
Yeah,
I
it sounded
think-
like you kind of got handpicked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like they came to our like grade or whatever, and my teacher actually came to me and he was like, "Hey, we're having a stock market trading competition at the school.
Yeah.
What do you know about the stock market or whatever?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, dude. I think rich people do that." I had no idea. Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just didn't know, and I'm like, that sounds interesting,
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try that out, but. Little did I know, but at the time I actually was kind of resistant towards it. I told him, hey, look, it's cool. I think wealthy people do it or whatever, but I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'll never forget. He told me, he was like, I don't remember if it was that day or a day or two later, but he told me, he's like, well, great, I signed you up. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, great. I don't really have a choice now. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, thanks, but now I'm like, dude.
I mean, you gotta send that guy a thank you card or something,
100%,
bro.
man. Yeah, I have. I've talked to him, and I actually saw him years ago at a teppanyaki, Japanese restaurant.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
And
Here in town or?
Here in town, yep. And I saw him here locally, and I was talking to him and told him, what I did. I told him at the time I was full-time trading as well, managing money, and he's like, of course you are. I knew you would. Like, I saw that in you from when
That's
you were
wild, yeah.
So I was like,
crazy.
dang, like, yeah, it was super cool. So kind of full circle moment. That was like 7-8 years ago. But yeah, so he signed me up, and I think the best part, honestly, like the competition was great, and I'll share a little bit about it. But the best part was I got out of the AR testing. I don't know if you remember that, but it's like you got to read a book, and you have to take a test and answer 10 questions based on that book. And I wasn't a reader back then, right?
Yeah.
At least I didn't really care about books with fictionary cats and these things. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
What is this?
Yeah.
So for me back then, I wasn't really interested. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really care about the book anyway. So it actually got me out of that. And at the time, that was my favorite thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Today, if I don't got to read the books, and in our reading time is the stock market time,
Yeah.
I'm good with it. Right?
And that satisfy the requirements and everything
100%.
like that.
Yeah, we weren't required to do the AR testing as we were doing that because our library time was done in the computer lab, checking out, doing research, investing, all that stuff. Yeah.
That's wild, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, did the competition, and I remember the competition started obviously, and I remember it was kind of like a big moment for me because I sat there and I was like, came to the realization that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't really know even what a stock is, right?
Yeah.
So all that I did, and I feel like this is a great life principle for just all of us, just in general.
Yeah.
I literally looked up best stock dude or something, because I'm like 10 years old. So
Yeah.
best stock people, and Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, all these OGs, all these legends came up,
Yeah.
and I literally just invested in what they were invested in. I saw what they were doing, and I just copied them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a great.
As
great
a
life
kid, you were
principle.
doing this?
As a kid, dude.
How
and-
old? You're what grade?
5th grade. I
Fifth
was
grade.
10 years old.
Yeah.
My birthday's August, so I always turn the year age before the school year. So I just turned 10 before that year, and yeah, and it wasn't like for me at the time. I didn't really think like it was impressive for me to think of that. I just was like realized like, dude, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, let me look up people do, which I guess is a good.
No, yeah.
Thing to realize.
That's a really good thing. I just sent Mikey a video last night, and they were talking about don't even try to be original. Just copy somebody, and that's how you're gonna be rich. And
100%.
For you to be 10 years old and doing that, that's insane.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, man. And it was a God thing too. Looking back, of course. But it was like one of those things at the time. I just was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I'm gonna look up who does. And you know what? I invested. I remember it was Disney, ExxonMobil or Chevron, Coca-Cola. That was my winner. Was Coca-Cola was the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to realize at the time it was 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
So the market had just
Took
crashed.
a big dip. Yeah.
So really,
There's a lot of upside potential at that
100%.
time. Yeah.
I was getting everything at 60, 70% off, right?
Yeah.
Which I realize is how the bigger players, the big boys, as I refer to them, like to look at the markets is when they're down 20% and 30%, most people are freaking out. It's like for them, they're actually adding money.
Yeah.
So it's like imagine going to a store and you see a pair of sneakers that you want and they're 60% off. You're probably not only going to buy one pair like I did with these pairs. You're not only going to buy one pair, you're probably going to buy 2 pairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it's like, and sneakers don't go up in value. Stocks do. So you can imagine people with money are going to put money into that when they see
Exactly.
that price drop. And I didn't know that.
Buy
right?
the
This
dip,
is all
right?
hindsight.
As they
Yeah,
say,
buy
yeah.
the dips. Yeah, 100%. So for me, I did the premium version of that. And I remember we had $300,000 of fake virtual money.
Mhm.
And I remember by the end of the school year, the teachers were walking around, and they walked by kids' computers. Man, there was some kids, they were just crying. Right? Yeah, so it was, they're walking around the teachers, and, they go up to some kids' computers, see how they did, right? Some kids are crying, like, oh, I'm so sorry, because their account's at like 10K, from 300K, or some kids had nothing in there, dude. And I'm like, whoa, 300 grand just gone, which, it can happen.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't know what you're doing. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing.
You're
right?
gambling at
I
that
just
point.
Copied people who did.
Yeah.
But it was like, I remember they came, and the kid next to me was like crying because he lost pretty much all of it. And they came over to my computer, and they sat there, and they kind of like pulled up my account platform thing, and they kind of like did a double take on it, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And they kind of looked back, and they're like, Joseph, wow, like you did incredible. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I didn't know at the time what amount it had turned into. I think they got so excited that they went and grabbed someone else, one of the like officiators of the competition. She was like, whoa, this is really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And so, anyways, that happened, finished competition. About a week later, I get called in the office. Dr. Ueno, Miss Ueno, and Mr. Johnson, I remember were the principals.
Yeah.
Super cool people. And they call me in, and I thought I was getting in trouble, right? So I get in the office.
That was the normal thing, yeah.
Yeah, I start ratting myself out. Look, I know I pushed Johnny down the hill last week. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't. And they're like, no. Like, we're not bringing you in here because you're in trouble, although we'll get to that,
Yeah.
They're like, we're bringing you in here because you actually, like, did really well on that trading competition. And not only did you do well, but you won the whole competition. Like, you got first not only in the school, not in the county, out of the 54,000, I think, participants at the time, because it was just one of the OG years. Now they have like 1 million people a year that do it, 1 million students. They're like, you got first place. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, like, you got first place. And I was like, whoa, out of the whole competition. And I didn't really know at the time, like, what to think about that. I just was kind of like, well, that's good. And they're like, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you
weren't like hyped or like.
No, because I just, I didn't know.
You didn't even want to do it initially.
I didn't want to do it in the first place. And then when they told me that, I just was like, okay, that's great. I'm glad, and I just remember Coca-Cola and Disney. Like, I just remember the companies that I bought a lot of shares in. So I was like, oh, they must have done really well.
Yeah.
Flew people out. Clear the amphitheater. I don't know if you remember this. They had people, come do a whole speech. Like, there was like a bunch of parents on the amphitheater. They had the little stock market game podium. These dudes in suits, probably from like Wall Street or heads of the advisors of the game, came out, did a speech. I think I talked a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, And then they sat me down, and I won a little bit of money, and it was like, it was so crazy for me. Like, all this just happened, and I just was like, wow, okay. Like, there's a moment where it was like, at that point, I was like, maybe this is something I like,
Yeah. Maybe there is something. Because you realized how much money, and what did you turn that 300,000 into?
Over 900K.
So
900,
a 3x, yeah.
Yeah, so it went from 300K into 916K.
And what length of period?
In the school year, 9 months.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Mr.
Souza was like,
gone all in, bro.
Yeah, Mr. Souza was like, take over my 401k.
100%, dude. Mr. Souza literally said, which was funny, bro, that you said that. He literally said, man, I wish you were trading my 401k, which was interesting because down the line I was trading people's 401ks. But so that was kind of an interesting thing that he said there. So, but yeah, it was amazing, dude. I got a little medal, which I hold in my trading bag. There. I know the camera can't see, but I got my trading bag over there. And
I'm like, pull it out real quick, bro. Pull it up.
I hold my medal. You want me to
pull
grab
it out,
it
bro.
quick?
Pull it out. Why
All
not?
right.
Heck yeah.
Let me grab it.
He said, I brought the evidence, bro. No cap in your rep.
Yeah. This isn't no Balenciaga bag or anything, Best Buy special.
Yeah.
But I hold it on me just as a reminder.
Let me check it out, bro.
Yeah, go for it. That this is really where God planted that seed in me, that seed of greatness to really do something with my life.
That's great. Hey, and it does say, it says 2008, 2009 winner. The stock market game.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Real gold, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice, right?
You made him 600K.
He made him 600K. They're like,
100%.
man.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
crazy.
Now, obviously, you know, it wasn't real capital or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But it was a thanks, man.
That's
It was
impressive.
I'm not gonna put this on or anything right now.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be that guy, but that was really a big moment for me when I felt this and I, you know, got the check and like they like, you know, because I won $2,500 and it was like, wow, like at the time I'm like, man, I'm rich, you know, like I'm as rich as Warren Buffett, you know.
Wait, how much did you win?
2,500.
Oh, wow.
2,500.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
they held
10 years old?
10
And
years
that time
old.
is still a lot.
Yeah,
And
like,
yeah.
100%. It'd be like 5-6 G's nowadays or something, maybe more with inflation and everything. But,
Yeah.
it was one of those things at the time. I was just like, dang, dude, like that. At that moment, it kind of became real for me. Like, there's something here, maybe.
Yeah. And what would you spend the money on?
So I actually invested that money too.
Oh, no
So,
way.
so what I did is, you know, obviously I'm 10 years old. I can't open a brokerage account. You got to be 18, right? You have to be an adult.
Yeah.
So my dad actually, in his name, opened up a brokerage account so that I can put that money into other stocks, right? And actually what ended up happening, which was really cool, was we actually had the opportunity to invest that $2,500 into Candy Crush. Now, Candy Crush, I don't think ever went public. I'm not sure. You can fact check me on it. I haven't looked up to see if it has, but they had like a seed round to like get the app going, and one of my dad's friends was connected with somebody, and it gave us the opportunity to take that $2,500 and whatever stake that gave us,
Yeah.
put it in the company.
Yeah.
To start it up.
And obviously it
You
blew
guys
up.
obviously know what happened with Candy
You remember
Crush, right?
Candy? Yeah.
People probably still play it on their phones. There's still probably millions of downloads on it. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
I was
it's
playing
like old
it.
now, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Tens of millions of downloads, hundreds of millions probably at some point. But so invested that and then forgot about it really. I mean, you know, I'm 10, 11 years old
You're
at the
not
time.
going to be,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not like checking on it every day or every week. Like I kind of just let it do its thing and lived my life as a normal 6th grader and 7th grader and 8th grader.
That's crazy, yeah.
There's one day my dad actually grabbed me because, you know, the account's in his name. So he must have been like, wow, I wonder how this kid's doing.
He must have been like,
you know?
whoa, yeah.
He probably was checking it along the way. But there was one day he came to me. He was like, hey, you know, do you want to check and see how your thing's doing? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about it, you know, or whatever. And, you know, I'm a teenager, right? You know, I'm a hooligan. I wasn't thinking of an investment, right, like at the time. And, you know, he's like, why don't you check it out? So pulled up the account or whatever, and I saw a 2 and a 3, and I was like, Dad, it's $2,300. Like, I'm losing money, you know? And he's like, check where the comma is, son. And
23
it was
grand?
23,000, yeah.
Holy
23,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm even more rich, you know? Like 10 years old, 2,500. 14 years old, 23, 24 G's, 25
Wow,
G's.
yeah.
And, you know, I eventually ended up blowing all of that in my early years of trading because it just, you know, eventually my dad let me pull all of it out and just I blew it in trading. But
And you didn't buy anything? You weren't like, hey, I'm going to...
so I did. So
Yeah.
he let me, I said, Dad, let me take some money out, you know, because I'm 14.
Yeah.
You know, you're hanging.
By that time, yeah,
You're hanging
exactly.
with friends. You're doing all this stuff, and you want to be the cool kid, right? And,
Yeah.
You know, we went to a nice school in a nice area, and it was like, you know, most of their parents had money, and you know, we always had food on the table and meals in front of us, and I'm thankful for that. But I wanted to be the baller for a minute. you know?
Yeah.
And so he let me pull out the original investment of $2,500.
Uh-huh.
So I pulled out $2,500, started like a junior bank account with Wells Fargo, I believe, was the bank. But yeah, started a junior bank account and spent it all in like 3 months, dude. I was taking everyone out to me and Ed's after school.
That was the thing to do.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Friday, like, let's go. We're rolling to me and Ed's. We'd like a group of us, a flock would walk from, you know.
Yeah, you're buying like 3 pizzas.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I bought like 12 pizzas. Go play games. Yeah, do the fuzzy game thing and the punching bag thing and whatever, you know. And I remember me and one of my old friends, Michael, we went to Target and we spent $500 on 5 gum.
$500?
500 on
What?
5 gum, just 5 gum only.
Why? Like all in one time,
We're
or
just teenagers, man. Like
just
wanted our breath
just
to
because
smell
you
good,
can?
man.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because we get.
How? They
We
have
went
that
in
much
there.
stuff?
I don't know. They were like
Yeah, well,
100.
they had to
They were
go-
like $1 a piece, or
Yeah. They had to go to the back and get like more inventory. And I remember
right here at the Shell station, or
No, Target. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
at Target in for us River Park, right? For anyone that's local.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in River Park, and so We walked up, dude. His dad dropped us off. I said we just want to get a couple things in Target. We were gonna go buy clothes, and I literally went to the gum because I've always been a gum chewer, and then I was like, I kind of just want like a ton of gum. And he's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. I'm like, I have $500 on me. Like, let's just spend it on gum.
Oh
so we bought the whole like pack of gum, and then they went to the back and rolled the thing out with like 4 or 5 things of gum. So we went. You should have seen his dad's face. So we roll out. He had a truck.
Yeah.
With a worker helping us, and these 2 14, 15-year-old kids walking out with like a pallet of 5 gum, you know?
Oh my God.
And his dad is looking like, what is that doing? And it's like, it's coming with us. We were the gum hookup at school for like 3 years.
Did you like sell any of them or?
No, dude. I just handed them out to everybody, dude. You want gum? You want gum? I
Yeah.
had packs. That was my 7th
That's
or 8th grade
hilarious.
year. I had gum all the way till I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Did it expire?
No, gum. No, I don't think gum. I don't know. Maybe, but
Do they still make 5 gum?
They still make.
Yeah,
They still
they
make
still
5
make
gum.
them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still super popular. But yeah, dude, it lasted me for a couple years through early years of high school. Yeah.
That's wild.
So yeah, it was
It's a funny
crazy,
story,
and I
yeah.
gave out a piece almost every day. So like that's how much gum we bought.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do with my money at the time. Like I had no clue, and just to get more on the raw and vulnerable side, my parents split when I was 10.
Right around that
Actually,
time.
the same year that I did that competition.
Wow.
So I did the competition. I was just getting into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting into football. Like it was kind of a big time for me in my life. And when they split, like for me, my dad immediately lived with another woman and stuff, and it was like I'm in this house with my dad and this stranger, no idea who she is, with her babies, 2 newborn twins, and I'm changing, the diapers of these babies when they're a couple weeks old.
Are they your siblings or
No, my dad only had me and my 2 brothers, right?
Yeah.
So I come from a family of 3 boys.
Of 3 boys.
I'm right in the middle, smack dab in the middle, which worked out for me. I know not all middles it works out for, but it worked out for me.
Yeah.
I'm the favorite.
I'm the favorite.
That's usually not how it goes.
It's normally the baby. Like me, I'm the baby, bro.
Yeah,
So
you're-
I'm definitely the favorite.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually is, but I just got to put on record that I am the favorite. So
Yeah.
just need that to be official. But no, I'm kidding.
You're the oldest, no?
The oldest.
You're the oldest.
okay. Yeah,
I
the
think
oldest,
the oldest
yeah.
and the youngest is normally like they hold special places. Probably.
It depends. Yeah, the oldest either gets like the kickback or it's like they're a favorite. Yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely didn't get no kickback.
No.
Okay.
I was the one
you
getting
got-
hit every day.
Oh, okay, that's real. Yeah, so so I was middle boy, and it worked out. But all these things happen. So for me, like growing up, I kind of just had like a free for all. Is really what it seemed to me at the time. My dad was kind of in a weird place. My mom was really hurt from what happened, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really have parents for my teenage years, and those are years you need parents, right? Especially. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and it's like she needs parents now. And what we're setting now, and the foundation we're setting now, is setting her up for when she is obviously going to be a teenager in those times. And but it's such an interesting time of life. You're going through puberty, you're going through high school. I'm having all these events happen in my life. Like I needed people there for me, and I didn't have it with my family. And it was really hard for me,
Yeah.
So, my advice was, okay, going to affirmations from other people, right? And that's a dangerous path, man. That's really a black hole that really is never ending. When you go to other
100%.
people for your affirmation and to determine your value, like you are always going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know at the time. This is all hindsight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I'm hanging out, drinking, smoking like I'm on fire, drinking like I need to put it out, and, just hanging with the wrong people and just completely doing things that just I shouldn't be doing. Like, and it was one of those times in my life that I remember, like, every time that I would be with a certain group of people, I knew that it was like the wrong thing to do. I knew something sketchy could happen. I knew I just wasn't going in the right direction. But for me, it was this getaway from this thing in my family happening and me not really feeling like I had people to run to and go to, that safe place, that I just started acting as a fool and attracting these friends who didn't even really like me for me. Just like me for partying and being the cool guy and the jokester and all these things that really ended up biting me in the butt later on.
Yeah.
And really them too, in a way, so to speak. But so the reason I share that is because it came to a point where like my freshman year of high school, I realized I was at a point where I'm like, dude, like I can't be hanging around these people anymore.
Yeah.
It was like end of freshman year, coming into my sophomore year.
Well, you got it out your system early, bro. You know, a
Oh,
lot of people are
100%.
still going
That's
through that
really
right now.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I was, you know, running amok pretty young, you know.
Yeah.
And I know most, you know, a lot of people, they wait till college years and older. And for me, dude, by the time I was 16, I'm like, dude, I'm ready to settle down. Like, cause I just was at the point where I'm just like, I'm done with all the fluff. Like, I've seen what that does, and you know, it kind of came to the point where, you know, I'm like, I realized I need to stop hanging out with these people, man. Like, they're not good for me. They're not healthy for me. Like,
Yeah.
I remembered back to trading and all these things, and I'm like, there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I put actual time into that, when most of these people are playing beer pong in college, like, I could be a millionaire, you know? Like, I could actually be successful.
Yeah.
And so for me, I came to that realization, and that like fire in me started to burn. And so I remember one day I sat all my friends down in the amphitheater. You know, the school, they got the amphitheater with like the steps on the side and then the big grass area.
Yeah,
in front.
yeah.
And I sat them all down, dude. Just put them all there. And it was like 20, 30 people in like our group that we hung out with. And I told them, I remember I was like, hey guys, like, I can't hang with you guys anymore. Like, you guys don't actually want to see me move forward. Like, you just want to party with me. Like, and I remember when I started to tell them no, like, no, I don't want to party anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're different. You've changed. You know, what's going on? Are you sick? You know, like crazy things like, no, dude, I just don't want to go drink at 14, 15 years old, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, but I was the weird one because
Don't be a Joseph.
Don't be a Joseph.
Yeah.
100%. I literally had memes made about me. I had thousands of students like across all high schools like making fun of me. No, it was a big thing, dude. I became one of the most hated people at my high school. I'm not trying to say that in an exaggerated way, dude. It was a real deal.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people who just wanted to see me lose. Because the reality is in life, and what I've learned is it's like the crab in a bucket,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're, if you've ever seen a crab or in a fish tank or whatever, when you see a crab, they climb.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see a crab starting to climb, you'll notice the other crab slowly comes up and it grabs it, dude, and it pulls it back down.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
no, you ain't getting out of here. You
Yeah.
ain't rising up.
Yeah.
You're not going to be better.
Yeah.
By you growing and you becoming a better person, you're naturally exposing all the people who aren't.
Yeah.
You're calling them out. But really, you're calling them up. And it's their choice if they're going to do something or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them out. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And I
yeah.
just was like, look, dude, like, I don't want to do this anymore. And, you know, in a healthy relationship, it should be like, dude, I accept you for that. Like, that's totally cool. I totally respect that. Let me know how I can help you with that. No, bro. So I told them. 7 guys came down, or 8,
Mm-hmm.
and surrounded me. And they were going to jump me. They didn't like what I had to say. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is going to go this way, you know. I may not look like much, but, you know, I wrestled. I did pretty good. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you don't want to mess with me, you know?
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I didn't even really want it to get to that point. But I just was like, wow. Like, and luckily, one of the yard duty, campus duties at the school, like, came and stopped them, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they were on top of that there.
saved me. That was Mr. Flowers, too. I don't know if you remember.
Okay, and
So,
he was cool,
big
too.
dude.
So
Like, he looked like an NFL tight
people
end.
people respected him as
A person.
that position, though, you
and
know?
in that position, yeah.
Yeah.
So he came up and they fleed.
That's crazy though, because
Mm-hmm.
you guys were what, 14 years old, 15 years old?
It's like sophomore, junior
this
year.
was end of my freshman year, so I was 14,
Oh,
almost 15. Or 15, almost 16, sorry.
You're like really mature. You were really mature for your age. Who would just think of, I'm gonna sit my friends down and tell them this is what, like,
This is what it is
This is
now.
good.
Yeah.
Not many, bro.
and you probably came at it from an angle like, hey, like, you know, this is what I'm doing. Like, you know,
100%.
let's do it together. Or if you guys, you know, or I don't know how you went about it.
I wish I could have had the opportunity to do that. It kind of just...
Because I remember you told me, like, you know, you obviously Michael was your best friend, you know, and I know he like kind of showed some interest at one point, and like you were like, that'd be cool, you know, but
Yeah, but way before that, he was the first to turn on me. You
Oh,
know?
really?
Like,
Yeah.
the people that I shared the most intimate moments with at that time were the first to be like basically forget you.
yeah,
But you know what? That was a complete turning point for me.
mm-hmm.
Because 1 week later, I had one of my friends that I saw on Facebook. Actually, we weren't super close, but I had talked with him before.
Mm-hmm.
and he was a trader. And I remember his name was Gerardo. Do you remember Gerardo?
No,
Way back in the
you've
day?
mentioned him to me a few times, but I can't put a face to the name.
He traded. He was part of MLM too, but he gave me the seed of trading again because I remember he had a gold wrapped Lamborghini on his website. He was living in a penthouse in Miami, and I was like,
How'd you know him?
what does this guy do? We met online actually
Okay.
through a friend of mine, but when he was doing something else, and I was like, how'd you get the Lamborghini, bro? Like, you were partying just 4 or 5 years ago too, or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm trading Forex. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Obviously Forex being the international, currency market. And, regardless of what the market was or whatever, I just was like, I'm familiar with that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you're living a lifestyle I want to live. I just ditched all my friends because I wanted to pursue this again. And then this door opens. And I believe it was a God thing.
Yeah.
I believe a door was opening for me to have the option of opportunity to are you going to take this or not? And I knew I had to take the opportunity. So I went from hanging with the cool kids to being in the library every day at lunch. Different crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm hanging with the kids that are having 4.5s and this kid George, he graduated with you, man. Went to Stanford, coded, super smart. I think he sold his company for a couple $1 billion a couple years ago.
Wow.
Do you remember George? He was tall, a little heavy set. He was a coder, bro. Super smart. The only
What's
guy
his
from
name?
your
Josh?
class.
George.
Yep.
I can't remember.
He went to Stanford. Only person from your class to go to Stanford. He had
Gotcha.
a 5.0. School was just too easy for him. And I remember I met him in the library. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just studying charts or whatever. I'm getting into trading." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm changing. I'm recoding the Pokemon game." I'm like, "How are you recoding Pokemon?" And he literally was so good at coding at the time. He took Pokemon, plugged it into it was a Game Boy Color Game Boy. Do you remember those big color Game Boys?
Yeah.
And I remember it was Pokemon Emerald, one of my favorite ones. When I didn't play many video games, but I remember that was one of my favorite ones, the Pokemon Emerald version. I don't know if you guys are Pokemon guys, but and he literally had it plugged in his computer, and he was recoding and changing Pikachu, the color of Pikachu, and his actions, which the coding on a game like that is absolutely insane. I mean, if you take a course on coding, they'll maybe teach you how to make the most generic app of all time.
Yeah.
This dude's going into Nintendo software and completely rewiring the game. He was a sophomore or junior in high school.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore. Completely crazy.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you teach me that and I teach you coding, would you want to, are you cool with that? I'm like, 100%. So I taught him a little bit about trading. And believe it or not, it wasn't complex enough for him. He got bored with it. So I was just like, that's cool. I love it because it's simple, but for him, he didn't like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
He wanted something complicated. And I was like, dude, do it.
Well, it's
that's
crazy
your gift,
how
that's
those
your
guys,
lane, run with it. So I had all these cool connections. My grades instantly went up because all the kids in the library were super smart, and I just stole their study guides and
Yeah.
So my grades instantly got better.
Yeah.
So that was good. Parents at the time were happy, but that really started for me the beginning of the journey I've been on. With my trading now. I'm sorry, this has been long-winded, kind of with my story, but there's
not at all.
been so much, man. I feel like I've been through so much. So this is a long one, guys. So stick with us. But it's been a powerful story, and it's truly for me, and who I am today. And,
and this is exactly what I wanted to get.
There's a second half of that football game, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what I wanted to get into because I mean, this is what I want this podcast to be about is everybody to, be able to give their story and get into, because people are going to see, I don't know how many people have heard that story. Obviously, we've been friends for a long time, so I know your story, but I mean, I think I'm even learning a few things about you today too. Yeah, cool. So I mean, hopefully, take the opportunity, bro. I'm loving the story. I'm engaged too.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's really interesting, and the crazy part is we're not even done with high school yet.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, what's crazy is because I met you and you were a senior, and I was
a junior. You were a senior because you were still in high school.
No, I was out. I had just.
Okay.
It was basically I think we had just graduated. I had just graduated.
Yeah.
And then we went through the summer. I started my freshman year of college.
We met that January, right? It was in the winter.
It was right. I don't even know if it was January. It might have still been October, November or something,
Yeah, I remember it was
because
in the later half of the year though.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was all thanks to Trippy actually.
Oh, wow.
Dude, Trippy's actually doing
Shout out
really
to
well.
Trippy.
Yeah, shout out to Trippy. But he's doing really well. He's a nurse. He finishes school, dude. He's doing
Awesome.
great.
Good,
But
dude. I love Trippy. What a
dude,
solid dude.
such
man.
a genuine
Such a
guy.
solid guy. I don't want to say I wish, but you know, I look back, I'm like, dang, dude, that's someone that I would have loved to build a relationship with. But it all worked out. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yes.
Like, I'm glad he's doing well.
Pure-hearted dude.
So,
Yeah.
so we met Trippy. I think his full name's like Trippit Paul or something.
Yeah. Triple man.
I'm not saying it correctly, but yeah, and we met there. And dude, by that point, I mean, I'd been in the grind for a couple years.
You
at
were
that
trading
point.
trading because I remember
Yeah,
what
100%.
intrigued me was we're all hanging out,
Yeah.
right? And I just got out of class. I remember, they hit me up. We meet up. We're with you.
Yep.
And we're chilling in your car listening to music.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember, like, I'm in the back seat. You're in the driver's seat, obviously. And then I see you, like, looking at charts. And I've always been interested ever since I was a kid. Like, I
Yeah.
did, like, MLMs and things like that
100%.
before. And I've always wanted more, my parents being entrepreneurs and things like that. But
100%. You had that
I
seed in you, so
I
to speak.
did, but I didn't think I could do it at the time. Like maybe I mean I always wanted to and I've attempted, but I mean things have gone well for me, but
Yeah.
I remember I'm like, "Hey, what are you looking at, bro? Are you doing stocks?" And you're like, "No, I'm actually trading forex." And I'm like, "What
I
is
love
that?" And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm trading currencies. Look, like I'm trading this pair." And then we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Yeah, I entered this trade, been trading for like 30 minutes." And you're like $500 in profit. And I was like, "Wow, bro, like I need to learn. I need to know what you're doing,
I was making actually decent money at that time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I remember, bro. We would go everywhere and
Yeah.
bro, you would treat me all the time too and
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I was one of the only people, but I remember for a long time it was just me and you just
100%. You were
grinding it
OG
out.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, bro. So like, that's cool, man. Thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah.
And that was a special time, man. And I've
It was a
valued-
special time for me too,
and
yeah.
I've valued and cherished our friendship ever since then.
Yeah,
And-
no,
and
I mean, we've been
obviously, you're a
friends-
brother of mine, so
Yeah, over 10 years.
yeah, super cool. But yeah, dude, by that point, I'd been at it for years, and I'm one of those guys that when I get on something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna stop until like I know it's where it could be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm a potential guy,
Yeah.
right? Don't marry people for potential, okay? A little relationship advice.
Yeah.
Marry them for what you're actually getting, okay?
Yeah.
And what they're willing to change for. That's a little nugget.
Little
in there.
nugget, yeah.
Because
You got a little experience in
my wife married me. I'm speaking from her perspective. She was
Yeah.
great. She saw potential in me, but I was a complete mess. And so luckily I've worked on things and grown and just, trusted God through the process. But, that's just a little tip for everybody. I was a working in the making. But by that point, I'd been in trading for a few years, and like I said, I'm a potential guy. Like I knew that this could change my life.
Yeah.
And I, at that moment, made the decision, and I realized I don't care how long it takes, what I have to do, what I'm going to lose, what I'm going to gain. I don't care. I'm going to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
I was what they call all in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I was all in. I wanted to learn the skill. I knew there was something to it. 5th grade, man, seed was planted, and now it's like watering time.
Yeah.
Right? It's just watering time, right? And so I started watering, bro, for years in the library every day. I do a little bit of homework, but I was pretty much on the charts, right? Every day I got home, I did my homework, and then I was on the charts. And so by the time I was junior, coming into senior year of high school, obviously Nicole and I met at the time. She already had graduated. But I was at the point where I was making like consistent money with it. And it was one of those things where, and the interesting thing about trading is it's like a fast version of investing, basically, is what I tell people.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have obviously long-term investing, very simple. You buy and hold forever, or you have a 401k with your job, or you have an IRA that you self-direct to, whatever the instance may be. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Trading is doing that, but on an active basis, right? You're buying
Yeah.
and selling Amazon for this week rather than for 10 years.
For 10 yeah.
So it takes more intentionality, it takes more discipline, right? but it's very lucrative and it can be very consistent for somebody. If you build the skill and you have the right mindset, right, and the right systems
Especially because
in
of the
place.
leverage you can use as well.
100%, yeah. And just the fact that it can truly build consistency when you build an edge and you build the skill set. But by the time we had met, yeah, I was at the point where I don't remember if it was my senior year or after my senior year, but I remember that year I'd made over 60 grand. And I was like, whoa, like I think it was from my end of my junior year to like mid senior year, right when we met.
Yeah.
I'd already made tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And so I knew it had worked. I mean, I never doubted it didn't work. It's the market. Like
Yeah.
the market's work. It's just if you work it, right? And you build your edge in it. But yeah, dude, that was such a cool time. And so when I graduated, so that's high school. So now we're getting out of high school, right?
Yeah.
This is where a lot
He's
of
all, we
things
haven't
happen,
even
bro.
made it out of
We
high
haven't
school
out
yet.
of high school,
This
yeah.
is chapter 2, going on to chapter 3.
This is chapter 2, chapter
You
3.
started in, oh no, that's chapter 4 now. No, it's so
Elementary.
Elementary, middle school, high school. Going
Chapter
on to
4. I like it. Yeah, we're on chapter 4 of this book, of my life. But
The journey.
the journey, man, beautiful one.
That's a crazy story so far.
Yeah, man. And to go back to high school a little bit, it was interesting. And I'm not sharing this to like be like poor me, but I vividly remember like when I decided not to hang with these people anymore. And I made that choice to like rise up, so to speak. I remember, dude, like I'd get like gut checked in the hallway, like people would push me down, like people would literally trip me and throw me onto the ground. Like, and these are the people that 2 weeks earlier were saying, I got your back, dude. You know, we're partying together, we're hanging out together. And now it's a completely different story. But looking back, I realized, and I'm grateful that that happened to me, because that built my why even more. And they didn't realize they were fueling the car, bro. I was at the gas station. They were filling me up to be able to run this race. And they're actually part of my why, you know. And, you know, people call it haters. And if, you know, this is going to sound cliche, but it really is true. It's hater really is an acronym that stands for having anger towards everyone reaching success. And these people were angry. You know, it was like the crab in the bucket. Like I was rising up and they wanted to pull me down. But I'm glad that happened and I'm grateful for it. And I've actually made peace with a lot of those people, which is really cool, just seeing them through life. And so anyways, that was a crucial time. Yeah, 100%. It was. And, you know, and some of them, you know, I've never spoken to again. And no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so now I'm graduating high school. I'm in a totally different place. Like I've been in the grind for a few years. Obviously, we met at this time, so you know some of this story. But I remember I graduated. Obviously, you get graduation money. You graduate, right? High school. And it's funny looking back at my trading, because I was consistent, but I also wasn't. Like I was consistent when I was actually like taking it seriously, but then when I would like try things and try to like make money quick and all this stuff, like it would not be consistent.
Yeah.
But I remember, you know, my graduation when I got $1,700 or whatever from my graduation party.
Like from friends, family, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
100%. And I remember I turned that $1,700 into over $300K in like 9 months. That was like when I was grinding, bro. Obviously, you know, you knew me at the time and stuff, and like, I was a little arrogant about it. Like I'd hold money on me, you know, and I'd show you a little bit. Like here's 10K and like all this random stuff that just was so foolish of me. And it's like, bro, go put that in like bonds or something, really, you know. But I'm sitting here just thinking I'm Mr. Cool. But you know, I wasn't. You know, I had some character at that point that I had built through this time, but you know, I still wasn't, you know, in like the best place, you know. So. You know, I still had these things that I was super proud of, but yeah, that was a funny time for sure. But I remember, so I built that, and I was like, well, I hate where I live. Like, I don't like this city. Like, I want to move. So literally moved to Morro Bay.
Morro Bay,
right,
yeah, I
which is
remember
in
that.
California, San Luis Obispo. Got a home like 3-4 homes from the water. Like, had money in the bank. Like, was trading full time. Crazy stuff just started happening, right? And all these doors started opening. I met my ex-business partner, and he actually hit me up on Facebook, and he was like, hey, dude, and I would never post like traders do nowadays. Some don't, but, you know, they'll post their profits and blah, 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 and all this stuff, and not judging that or condemning that. I just, at the time, I wasn't like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm just like, I don't need to show that. Like, real recognize real. Like, I'm gonna post mindset. I'm gonna post stuff that actually like is of some substance. So I'd post Warren Buffett quotes and all this stuff, and post a little bit about trading. And he hit me up over Facebook, and he was like, "Hey, like a lot's happened over Facebook. Messaged Nicole, my now wife, over Facebook. Like, hit me up, crazy. I don't have Facebook anymore, but some stuff did happen on it. So I guess thanks Zuckerberg on that. But he hit me up. And he's like, "Hey, I could see you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could get money. I know you know how to trade. Like, why don't we come together and like build a business from this?" And I was like, "Okay, like let's do it." And at the time I just heard money.
He's like, "I'll raise some money and."
Yeah, and I didn't know this dude, right? Like, which is terrible. Like, you're going into business with this guy, and I had no idea who this dude was. But hindsight again, right? A lot of things are hindsight 2020. At the time, it was hindsight 0-0. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, going to business with this guy, great guy, really was, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Strong guy, good family man, right? Good, like similar values and beliefs. So, his father was a wealthy farmer in Texas. He was a cattle rancher.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, the numbers he was telling me they're pulling in 6 figures a month for sure. And it was like, whoa, okay, these guys are pulling in some dough. And he's like, they got a lot of extra money just that they don't know what to do with. I think you're a great solution to that. I'm like, sounds good to me. So he's like, my dad, I think, wants to throw you some money. Let me talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like, I think that was in the morning. By like the late afternoon, he's like, hey, my dad's willing to throw like $300K at you just to see how you do. I'm like, okay, great.
Wow.
So I start managing some money, and it went really well with him. We actually paid him back in like 3 months. Like, and then he's like, I could get you more money. And I'm like, okay. And so we ended up raising multi-millions of dollars. And so, because, other ranchers wanted to be involved, dude.
Yeah, once you get your money back,
we had 10 to 12 clients. And they were ranchers, and we had a couple lawyers and stuff that were invested with us. But it was legit, man. We did a whole operation. We had a whole LLC.
Mm-hmm.
We buttoned it all up. We paid for attorneys. We had attorneys on retainer. I remember we paid $5,000 a month, dude, to have attorneys there, just ready. We had questions, or clients had questions. It's expensive, to run a business, especially a business of such speculative, risky nature. How they look at it. So it wasn't cheap, but things were going good, man. I mean, things were really well. I had money in the bank. Was living at the coast. Like, was kind of doing whatever I wanted. But I realized, looking back, like my character just wasn't there, bro. Like my values just weren't in line. Like, I literally just was like thinking that I was the dude.
Yeah.
And when you think you're the dude, just like in golf, when you think you got it, you don't got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you think you're Tiger Woods, bro, you're going to hit a terrible stroke on the next one. I'm telling you. Happens every time. Same thing with me, dude. It was like, it wasn't that I didn't know my skill set. I didn't have the skill set. It just was the fact of like, I didn't have the right mindset to support that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I've realized is it's the character that actually sustains the fruit. And I didn't have the character to sustain the fruit that was growing on my tree. And so I'm picking and eating from the fruit, but I didn't have the character to have long-lasting consistency and success in it.
Yeah.
And I'm convicted now, and people see me now, and what my values are now, and like how I talk now, and these things, and it's like, oh, like you're born this way. It's like, no, bro, like you have to grind, like you have to go through the struggle. Like I just hit the ground hard, you know what I mean? And I hit the ground really hard, and I had nowhere to look but up.
Yeah,
I said, God, like
we went like that, bro.
100%.
I remember, yeah.
And I just was like, God, like I gotta do something different. Like this isn't gonna work. And I ended up losing almost all the investments. Some people made their full investments back, but some didn't. And there was a point where we had to call it. And it wasn't because I didn't have the skill. It wasn't because I didn't have the strategies. I literally just got greedy. Like it's like, if we can make $50,000 this month, why don't we make 150? Right? You start taking moves, not only with your money, with other people's money, that just is just super risky by nature. You're risking 10-15% on a swing, and you lose a couple of those in a row, you're down almost half on your account, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it was one of those things where I was like, wow, man, like, we need to stop. Like, and it was a crazy process, and my partner tried suing me to get money back, and just like falsely accusing me of stealing it, and he ordered a subpoena on me, and so I had to file in all my papers. I sent all my bank statements, sent all the brokerage statements, sent a letter apologizing for them that this is even happening, whatever the huge financial organization, FINRA or whatever. And I remember they reached out to me, and they're like, we're sorry that this guy's like doing this to you, because like you're obviously good. Like, you know what I mean? He locked me out of our business account so that I couldn't access certain things, and you know, but we ended up, you know, making peace and amends, and
That's good.
I never had anger towards him, you know, I never resented him. I just was like, hey, maybe we could handle this a little differently, right?
Yeah,
like, we
yeah.
were in this together, like, you didn't have to handle it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a wake-up call for me, man. That's where I grew up. You have to grow up at that point.
Yeah,
you can't stay a kid at that point.
Yeah, I think every man though like needs something like that to happen in his life to like I'm not invincible. You know,
100%.
I'm
Yeah.
like you said, I'm not him. You know, it's
Right.
only God. You know that.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a man.
Yeah. It
Right.
humbles you. It brings you back to
100%.
earth, and it's like I
100%.
never. It leaves that taste in your mouth. I never want something like this to ever happen again. Whether it's something like that, or
Yeah.
it could be heartbreak. It could be losing everything. But
100%. Relationship, right?
Yeah.
Financially, spiritually for people, know, whatever that looks like there's those moments we have.
Yeah.
When we hit this low, and it's like, that is the biggest decision point. That is where people of greatness are made.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe it, because you just listen to the stories, man. Listen to podcasts like we're making tonight, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully this
yeah.
can give nuggets to people. Hopefully someone can pull something like, this is my testimony, this is my story, like this is what I've been through, like, and I want this to be able to give something to people so that they can have a hope and a fire to run with.
Yeah.
There's
You know what I mean?
definitely a lot of nuggets in this one.
Good, man.
I'm gonna be busy clipping a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh,
Thinking
good.
about it right now.
Good, man. Good, yeah. And so, yeah, that was a big deciding factor for me. And here we are, I'm full-time trading, like, back again. But at that point, like, I was scarred. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm done.
You told me at one time, I don't
Yeah.
think I'll ever trade
Yes.
full time again.
Yes.
I remember during that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, I'm never going to do that full-time again.
Mm-hmm.
Quick water break there, but talking a lot if everyone can't tell. But, yeah, it came to the point where I was like, I'm never going to trade again. I'm never going to help anybody else with trading. I'm never going to trade for people. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just done. And, I'm sure God was laughing, but, that was where I was at. So what do you got to do? I had to go get a job. I'd never worked a job up to that point.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's something like to be proud about, up until that.
Yeah, I mean, it humbled me, dude. Like,
I thought that was cool. I'm like, damn, bro, you've never had like,
never had worked a job up to that point, but had to go get one, man. Had to pay the bills. It wasn't coming from trading anymore. Okay, what do I do, right? And easiest job in the world to get, car sales. Start selling cars, man. Start slinging cars, dude. At a Dodge dealership here locally, and it was cool, man. But it's a different world, Like 100%. I come in, I literally.
It's cutthroat there too,
bro.
Yeah.
You should have seen me come in, dude. Like, they'd hire anybody, right? But I came in, I wanted to make a good impression. I'm a businessman. Like, I came in like a $1,500 suit. It was like pinstripe, bro. I had a fat resume. Multi-7-figure company I managed. And I remember, dude, the sales manager just looking at it and like flipping through, and he's like, yeah, I think you'll be good,
Yeah, I think you're qualified.
He literally is like, why don't you like get out there and start selling? And I couldn't that day, so I came back the next day, but they hired me on the spot, and I started selling cars, dude. And that, honestly, this chapter of like these 3 years between selling cars and selling insurance at Allstate were like, I think some of my biggest growth years, and where my communication and connecting with people went through the roof. Because in car sales, like, someone walks onto the lot, we call them ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have 20 seconds for this dude to like you or not.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in that 20 seconds for him to like you?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, what I realized, and just what my strength has always been, is my vulnerability. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be real with this dude. Like, I'm not going to be the classical salesman, twist his arm into buying something. I'm just going to be like, hey, dude, like, my name's Joseph. Like, what's your name, John? What's up, man? Like, what can I help you with? Like, obviously, you're here to get something. I didn't say that, but I'm like, obviously, they're there to do something, right? To potentially buy a car. Like, let me just be the middleman and, like, get you a good deal and, like, make sure it works out for you. So that was my approach. And, like, I got top salesman of the month. Like, I was making decent money. But it was a toxic environment. I mean, I have guys taking pills in the back or falling asleep in the chairs. And customers are coming in. Like, I have people drinking on the job. I had a dude who would take pills and sleep in the back of vans at the dealership, and like I'd be literally showing the car to people, and he's snoozing in the back. Yeah, dude. So I worked there, and he wasn't there for a long time, but it just was such an interesting environment. And I remember when I applied there, I also applied at the same time. But at the time, they were like, "No, we're not really hiring right now. Like,
they're a little more
we'll call you
prestigious. Yeah.
if we are." So I was at Dodge for about 6 months, 9 months, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I get a call. Hey, we're hiring. Do you want the job? I said, I'll be there tomorrow. Then, call Dodge, or I think I was in person. I gave them one more day.
Mm-hmm.
In the car business, you give you 2 weeks. It's like they tell you to go home that day.
Yeah. That's how it is in most sales positions because they don't want you
100%.
stealing,
Yeah.
customers or
they're
anything like that.
You don't need to be bringing all this stuff when you're just dipping out. So they let me go that day, which I figured, and it was total cool, no hard feelings. They're like, Lexus is nice. I know the managers there, like, kind of like gave me their, blessing in that. And I was like, okay, don't need that, but thanks. But anyway, so I went to Lexus, and I did even better at Lexus because, like, I actually like these cars. I've
nice
always liked
cars,
Lexuses. Nicole had a Lexus at the time, so it was like it was like a nice.
Got your dad a Lexus.
Yeah, a lot. So a lot of my family Lexuses and stuff, and I did well, man. Same approach, but just at a different level. I actually connected more with these people because the shoppers at Lexus are a lot different than Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I actually related with the mindset with a lot more of my customers coming into Lexus.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood kind of more of their motives and like where they operated from. So I actually did even better at Lexus because I'm like, you people have money. Like, I speak your language.
Yeah.
And it was like, they at least like, were driven, or I met entrepreneurs, or I made some really good connections. I met some of the wealthiest people in this town, which are wealthy, at Lexus. I had a guy come in and he wrote a check for 5 cars, just cash. Personal.
Wow.
They weren't for business or commercial, just for himself and a
Wow.
couple of his kids. Yeah. And I remember, like, we did these applications, and they write, like, their income on the application, like a credit app. And I was like, what's, like, your monthly income if you don't mind me asking or whatever. He's like, just put $350K.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it. Just super lowballing me. $350 a month. I'm like, yeah, you're obviously fine. He's writing checks for stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
yeah.
But I learned so much, then going into insurance, like cold calling people, dude. I was the cold call master, bro. I mean, I was calling 200 to 300 people a day.
Wow.
And I was closing at least a few deals a day. I was closing at like a couple percent close rate at the end of the day, which is on cold calls.
Yeah.
If you guys are familiar with sales.
Yeah, cold calling sucks. Yeah.
Like, these people are like, you have, again, 20, if not less than 20 seconds for these people to be like, what are you calling me for?
You have way less time.
Way less, right?
Yeah,
like, you got 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I would just call and just, walls down. And I literally became a mad scientist with connecting with people.
You
because,
experiment over time, yeah.
Yeah, they gave me a script and everything. And, hey, this is Joseph from Allstate. And click. Like, they wouldn't like that. So I went to my boss and I'm like, dude, this isn't working out. Like, I got to change.
Oh, so this is you now at Allstate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they actually let me go at Lexus over something with a customer. They actually used to refer to him as Mr. I was the only guy that was ever able to sell this guy. And he was a super wealthy older guy, but he just hated life and hated people. And I was like, I'm going to be the dude to sell this guy. Ended up later biting me in the butt.
Yeah.
He came back 9 months later after selling him the car and wanted to sue Lexus because it's hurting his neck. And, you're the one that sold him the car, so you're the face of that issue.
Yeah.
So they called me in the office, and they're like, we don't want to compromise, Lexus's reputation. So, like,
He wanted to leave like a bad review or something like that.
yeah,
or...
they had 5 stars. The Lexus here locally, I won't mention the city or anything, but the Lexus here locally was 5th in the nation at the time for customer service. Very good dealership.
Yeah.
But this guy comes in. I'm the guy to sell him, of course. So I'm now the sucker. I'm the guy that's the face of this issue.
Yeah.
And they're like, see ya. So Christmas Eve 2019, they let me go.
Wow. This is
Yeah,
2019?
2019. They're handing out $200 Ruth Chris cards to every salesman. Like, they hook people up.
Yeah.
And they didn't hand me one. I was like, that's weird. But he still shook my hand and said, Merry Christmas. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. I didn't get a card, though.
Even
my
though
buddy
they were letting you go.
right next to me, I got a $200 card. Merry Christmas, John. You're doing a great job. 2 seconds later, Joseph, report to the sales office. I'm like, oh, geez. Like, I knew something was up, dude. And I felt the tension the last couple weeks and from the whole situation. And so they let me go. But it was a God thing again because COVID hit. Most people got furloughed like 3 months later, dude.
Yeah.
So my friends started an Allstate agency. It was a scratch agency. They didn't buy a book of business, so they were building it up. They saw I liked people and I was decent in sales. Will you help us build it up? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So they bought a ton of leads and I called them and, you know, I couldn't follow the script. I'm like, this isn't me. This is not how I sell. Like, I sell being just me, like being raw with people, being real.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll give you 1 day to do it, or like a week or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're super nice people, but you know, they got to meet a quota, bro. They're building a business. They got to pay the bills, and they were paying me salary plus commission. And I negotiated my salary higher because I was coming from a good job, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm making these calls, and, you know, the script I did terrible. Like,
Mm.
I didn't close anybody for like a week. And I'm like, oh. First person I call, just me on my own, I close them. I make like $1,000 on the sale.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow. That was really good.
Mm.
And my boss is like, just do your thing. I'm like, all right. So, you know, he's like, obviously at some point let him know where you're calling from, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, 100%. I'll throw it in there, but I don't start that way, you know?
Mm.
And so I just learned to build connections with people. And so the whole point of that long section there was just like, I learned so much from that season. I'm so grateful for that season because for me, it grew me into having a skill set in communication and connection that I didn't have before. Like, I didn't know how to connect with people before. So that was a big deal for me. I've always been a people guy, but like, I didn't know how to effectively do it, especially not in the business or sales world. So did well there, made 6 figures working at Allstate. I mean, you're familiar with insurance, and
Insurance is good. Yeah.
yeah, it could be super lucrative. And, you know, they started getting like automated systems in place for me and kind of start working leads around me. They were feeding me hundreds of leads a day, and they got people from across seas to like answer the call initially and get the information and just hand it off to me, you know. And
So was it such a cold lead?
They made it really easy for me, actually, to be honest with you. Hey, Jim, saw we already got your information, dude. I know you don't have much time. Like, trust me, I'm a busy guy too. Like, I get it, but already got some info, dude. I just need a couple other things. Like, I'd love to help you, man. If you do need it,
Yeah.
Even if you don't, I tell people like, and this is just some of the sales side. I'm like, literally, even if you don't need insurance, like, let me just look at what you got, make sure you're not getting screwed, because. Like, forget that I'm Joseph the salesman. Like, I'm Joseph, your friend. Like, let me check this out for you. And, like, people be like, please, man. Like, I need help.
Yeah.
Most people didn't know, you know? And everyone had the California minimums and all this junk. And I'm like, dude, if you get in an accident, like, you and your daughter, like, you really want this to happen.
You're going to get sued. You're going to lose everything.
So I would never, like, sell people based on BS. Like, I literally was like, dude, like, this is not good for you. And I literally just cared for people.
Yeah.
And in sales, like, if you just care about people and you believe in yourself and you're confident and convicted with what you're selling, you'll be a freaking beast. You'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
That's a side note for everybody in sales.
Yeah.
So
It's a flip.
yeah, right, 100%. So but I built that skill set, but it came to a point where trading kind of started coming to my heart again, man. Like, I hadn't even opened a chart for years at this point, right? Like, I lost everything 2018, 2019, started working, and then 2021, it kind of started coming to my heart again. I just like, dang, like, I just started feeling this urge. And I actually met with a buddy of mine, and, you know, he really kind of spoke, like, life into me, so to speak, of like, dude, I really feel like you should be getting back into this. And I was just like, I think you're right. And I remember going home to Nicole, my wife, and being like, hey, like, I think, and she, like, stopped me mid-sentence. She's like, yeah, you do need to start trading again. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
How'd you know that's what I was going to say? Yeah.
And she just was like, I just have felt it, like, on my heart. I know it's what you're supposed to do again.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually were driving to Doghouse to get dinner, which is a local restaurant here. Fire. Shout out to Doghouse.
Amazing. Yeah.
Best, you know, I mean, you want to try some sandwich and fries for like $15, like, there you go.
Yeah.
That's like fire. There you go. And you'll get full from it.
You'll get more than, you'll take some leftovers.
100%, right? So, but yeah, we're driving, and she told me, like, I already know, like, start, like, get back in it, like, start grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And that just fueled me, dude. Like, I was just like, yes, like, I get to get back into my space. I remember opening up a chart, dude, and it felt like I had to, like, dusting the thing off to get the cobwebs off, you know, open up my computer. And I'm looking at the chart, but I knew instantly what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is in an uptrend. Here's the buyer who's in control. This is what the momentum
It's like riding a bike,
Price
yeah.
is expensive. I already knew the analyst approach right away when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in trading, there's two aspects. You have to be a good analyst to be a precise trader. You have to have the ability to read what the market's doing to then effectively build a trade hypothesis on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't even know how to read what an uptrend is, how do you know to buy it? How do you know when to buy it? How do you know how to buy it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all these things. So that got me back into it, and I quit my job September 10th, 2021, and then here we are doing it full time and everything.
That's
and
all. So how did you know I'm gonna quit my job? Like, how did you know? Like, because in sales you don't put in a 2-week notice, or maybe you did. Maybe I know you had a really good relationship.
Yeah, I had a great relationship with these people. We went to church together. Like super cool people, man. Like, they were Josh and Kim Fanko are amazing people, and their business is growing. I'm super happy for them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you know like when to quit your job, or like I'm gonna take that leap? Because I know you had said before like I'm never gonna trade full time again.
Dude, just
like did you already have momentum going?
Yeah,
like,
so
in
like
trading,
I got
or?
back into it in like March of 21. It's a great question. March of 21, and then I quit in September 10th.
Oh,
of
okay, so 6
2021.
months
wow,
later.
dude, what's today? September 11th. Oh, yesterday was my 3-year anniversary.
That's wild.
I didn't even do anything fancy.
Yeah. A quick side note.
Yeah.
I just got a memory popped up on my Facebook actually. Me and you went to go meet at Mad Duck for the first time ever September 10th 2 years ago.
Wow.
That was 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago, and then that's when we started talking about potentially opening up the restaurant. And that's how our friendship started.
Was it that day?
It was September 10th. It popped up on my memories.
Wow.
No,
Literally
September 10th,
yesterday.
Were we going to Yard House when we first?
No, we had initially met up at Mad Duck, and then we went to El Patio, and then I remember later we hung out, and then we went to Yard House, and that's when my cousin
Nice.
Maddie was here.
That's nice.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Didn't mean to.
No. That's
yeah.
6 so
Crazy.
of 22. So yeah, that was a year after I quit. That's crazy,
significant
bro.
timing
Yeah,
right now.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
So today, is pretty much, so it's been 3 years, but so in March I start getting back into it. And it's kind of like a baby, like learning to walk again. Like I knew how to walk, but I like had to find my steps. You know what I mean? And it was like the interesting thing with trading in the markets, a thing that you realize as you get consistent in it is trading is really a reflection of you. Like your style of trading, your approach in the markets is really a reflection of you. And I was completely different in March 2021 than I was March of 2016 or 2017. Like I was a
100%.
completely different person. Like I wanted different things. Like I wanted more stability and consistency and like long-term wealth. I didn't just want a flash in the pan like I used to want, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, my approach naturally just has to be different. And so to change like your lifestyle in trading is dependent on the time frames that you trade. And so I went higher time frames to give me more of that freedom of time lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so that's something I had to adjust. So I had to find all these little things and kind of nuance things to come like back into like, okay, who am I now in this space, right? Like, who's this version of Joseph in this space? So started studying, got back in the charts, knew right away how to read them and all that kind of stuff. Always had an edge there. Started building kind of strategy in it. Crazy thing is when I quit, it was a step of faith too.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't making a lot of money from it when I quit. You know, I only had a little bit of money I was trading. Wasn't really making much from it. Not enough to pay the bills that I had at that point. But from when I put my 2 weeks in to when I quit, I literally had people come up to me. Like there was 3 families that came up to me that were like, I want you to manage money for me. I want you to manage money for me. I want you to manage money for me. Within this 2 weeks. So I went from trading like a couple grand to like 250K by the time I quit.
Wow.
From 3 private families that I met through church. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like literally like, dude, I just feel like you're the guy to do this.
Yeah.
So total God thing for sure. So here I am 2 weeks later quitting, now managing $250,000 rather than a couple grand.
Yeah.
And I just was like, whoa. And I didn't want to ever do that again. You know, God had to really check my heart on that. I had to check my heart on that. I'm like, dude, like, you're called to do this, bro. Like, you need to do this. Like, you're doing yourself and people a disservice by not doing this. And I'm just like, dang, like, I got to do this, you know? So I did it, man. Like, and nothing even really happened with that, to be honest with you. With the 250K, like, I made a little bit of money on one and then not really. And then it kind of just was like break even. And I just was kind of at a spot where I wasn't fully convicted again in the markets and like getting my feet wet. And I remember it was tough, dude. Like there was a season like we had to go like on unemployment and food stamps and like we were, you know, because I wasn't working and I wasn't making much, really anything from trading. And it was a tough season, man. Like, it was really hard. Like, but I knew I was doing what I needed to do. Like,
Yeah.
I knew that I'm an all-in kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I didn't go all in, I would never get to the place where I knew I could be with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like right now, as we sit here 3 years later, like, it's just it's just breaking through. Like, I feel like, you know, you see the line graph. And I feel like now I'm at that point where it's just gonna go
The hockey
steep,
stick.
dude.
Yeah.
100%. And so, even though, you know, I've been consistently profitable again now for like, gosh, what has it been? A little over 2 years, somewhere around there, 1.5, 2 years. But I wasn't then, you know, 3 years ago. So, like, it took me a year to, like, kind of find my footing.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, like, the interesting thing about the markets and just in business in general is, like, if you continuously pursue growth and, like, the best version of yourself, like, you will surprise yourself. Like, you will hit new heights and new milestones that you didn't think possible if you just don't give up.
Yeah.
And you stay consistent. And the trading world nowadays is such a crazy place of, like, information overload, dude. Like, people literally, like, you go on the internet, you know, you see smart money concepts and Elliott wave and Fibonacci and this line and this and all these terms that, you know, maybe people aren't familiar with, just a bunch of trading terminology. And it's like, the reality is like, whatever works for you works for you. Like, it doesn't matter what it's called. It doesn't matter how fancy it is or how simple it is. Like, I've realized that it's just what works for you.
Yeah.
And for me, when I actually found that, like, within the charts, like, because my ability to read the markets were always there. I could read really well what was going on. But my ability to trade it and be convicted on that was not there until the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, years ago, it was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to redevelop myself, dude. I had a totally different way of thinking.
Yeah.
But once I found my footing, bro, it was off to the races, man. And it just, like, completely changed everything for me. So, yeah, it's been really cool.
Wow, bro.
Journey. Yeah.
So what's next? I know. Well, obviously you've been off of social media for really long time. Like since 2019, 2018.
Yeah, 2018, 2019 was Facebook was my last one.
Mm-hmm.
I had LinkedIn in 2020, 21, but
yeah.
you know, it's not not really social media.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a business
LinkedIn.
social
Yeah,
media,
yeah,
but,
definitely.
You know, technically it's still under social media. So yeah.
Yeah.
About 5, 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And so what's next? I know you have
Yeah.
a trading group that you're doing right now,
I'm a trading
and
group, yeah, Community FX.
mhm.
Community Trading Co. is what the aggregate name is.
Doing meetups.
100%, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So really, the biggest thing for me is obviously continuing to grow and surprise myself in this industry. I feel like I've just broken through to a point where for me, I have, you know, people ask me like, what's trading like for you? And I tell them like, it's peaceful, dude. Like, they're like, what? Like, it's peaceful, bro. What do you mean? Like, they're expecting me to say like, oh yeah, bro, it's off the chain, you know, it's off the hook. It's peaceful, bro, and it's consistent and it's profitable. And it's like, what else could you ask for, man? Like, think about it. With any business, like, think of Cup of Joy. I'm at Cup of Joy all the time. Local coffee shop. You can cut that out if you don't want to use the name. Let's say a coffee shop. For a coffee shop, obviously to be successful, you know, they have to order the product, have a certain margin, you know, have a certain system and model that they're running in the business that works with employees and customers and marketing, right? So there's expenses that go into it to just get a coffee. There's probably 50 G's just to get one coffee in someone's hand. You know what I mean? With starting the place and marketing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to find a system that works for you, right? But when a system works and you find consistent profitability, what does that coffee shop do to grow their business? They franchise.
Yeah.
Or they open a new location, right? Maybe
Yeah.
it's not a franchise with a new owner, but they expand, right? A new location opens. When that location's doing good, and at least at the point where you see a lucrative side to it, you're going to open another one, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in trading. Like, once you're at the point where it's like you're consistently profitable, the way to scale this business is just capital, right? Like, the way to scale a normal business is through franchises, or, you know, however you expand the business, but through trading, it's just more capital. So if I can be consistently profitable with $100,000, I can be consistently profitable with $100 million.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just different numbers, right? Now you build your way up to mentally get used to those kind of numbers, right? But it's one of those things where it's like, that's how you grow your business. So for me, it's scaling, really. My trading and my performance and what I'm doing and seeing that growth in myself, and then really coaching and mentoring. You know, I have, you know, a purpose in trading, but I have a passion in coaching. Like, I love coaching.
Well, you've always been really good at it, at least on the trading.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm passionate about it, man. And you know, I'm not a very political guy, but Donald Trump says he's here to make America great again. It's like his slogan. Like my slogan is like, I'm here to make trading simple again. Because nowadays on social media, like there's so much junk, you know, and so many things. And, like I said, smart money and this concept and whatever. And it's like, I'm not hating on any of that, although it's all new stuff that's come out just because like social media is popular. So it's like, most of it is like old school, like foundational stuff, just like they rework it, make it sound cooler, right? To sell courses or whatever. But it's like, there's so much information that people, it's like information overload. It's death by distraction. Like, it's like people have so much stuff they don't know what to actually use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm here to make it simple again. Like, I'm here to like literally be like, hey dude, like this is like the simple, like this is a way to go about it, like to where it can be simple for you.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not the end all be all, but I know that 13, 14 years in, I've learned a few things about the markets and about trading and about emotions and how to think and mindset systems and strategies, which I hit on. So for me, yeah, coaching and mentoring is huge for me. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I do once a month free workshops here locally, the last Friday of every month. I have a free Telegram group, Community Trading Co. that people could definitely check out or whatever.
Yeah, we can plug you in on the socials. We'll
for
put it
sure.
up
You can
and
put the link
link,
in there
and I'm plugged into that. And
100%.
maybe you can come. We can go to one of the next meets. I know there was one on the 30th.
No,
but
yeah, definitely. Is there like a website where we could put everything together? Or?
So I don't have a website at the moment. Yeah, I don't have a website right now, but yeah, for sure. No, you're good.
I wanted to smack you real quick.
Yeah, right. I don't have a website right now. I know eventually I will, but really most of my teaching or connection is through, word of mouth or connecting in person or through my workshops, through Telegram. TradingView, I do post my analysis sometimes on there, and I have a few hundred followers on there, which for TradingView, it's like having a few thousand followers on Instagram kind of thing. So it's not a huge platform for like followers, but I've been able to gain a decent amount on there, and I still post on there. So I have some people that come through there. But being the contrarian that I am at heart, I don't know personally if I'm ever going to be on social media again, just to be honest with you. Like,
really,
life out of it for me has just been so peaceful. And the fact that I don't need it, like I have complete freedom without it. Like, if you've built a business on there, it's tight.
And it's a drug, bro. Like it kind of is.
It can be. And there's people doing a lot of good with it. But for me, and what I really like have a call for in my heart is to like bring old school business back and like grow it like person to person. Like I did back in the.
Yeah, and I like you said, I think that is
days.
a lot more peaceful
so
way to go about it.
That's my calling, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm not gonna be on social media. There may be a day where like I am on social media, but I will never personally have it. I would have a team, or I'd have somebody.
Well, I mean, you're getting a little bit, you're kind of exposing a little bit here. That's why 100%. When I called you, I was like, I didn't know whether or not you were going to be
100%.
comfortable. And
no, I don't mind, dude. I don't mind being out there. Like, I want to serve more people, and I know people are on social media nowadays. Like, that's where people are at.
That's where people get connected.
But for me, it's toxic. Like, it's not something that I'm gonna personally be on. But I realize there may be a day where I am I'm the content, but I have a team that's managing, posting, doing that for me.
It's not on your phone. It's not something that you're running.
I don't have the apps. I don't have access to it. Like, you guys literally take care of it.
I
don't even want to know the passwords to it, to be honest with
you.
Yeah. That would definitely be something good for you, because if someone manages it, like, I think you'd like blow up, because you're like really knowledgeable.
Bro. Thanks, bro.
Very knowledgeable.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a great speaker as well.
Thanks, man.
I know we talked a lot about like, business in this thing.
Yeah.
One of the things, maybe it might be a little bit selfish, that I'm asking here, but
100%.
A lot of people today, like, they're not married. They don't get married. You got married very young. Like, how much of that do you think played into who you are today?
A ton, bro.
Really?
A ton. Yeah. You have to grow.
In what ways? Like,
just in the way of like, you either grow up in marriage or it just doesn't work, bro. Like, it was one of those things too. Like, I got married at 19. I was almost 20. And Nicole was 22 on the day. We got married on her birthday, so we did like 2 in 1. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I want to give her that.
April
7th.
7th.
Yeah. And so, we just celebrated 7 years this last April. But yeah, at 27, it's like wow.
You're looking at the best man right here.
You were the best man?
I was.
Yeah, he was the best man.
Yeah.
100%, bro. That was
Bro,
tight.
Crazy.
dude, can I just say that, obviously I've told you a little bit about me
Yeah.
being a little shy on camera.
Yeah.
I remember that day I had to give a speech and I mean, I probably gave one of the worst
I
best man
forgot
speeches.
everybody's speeches, including my own. So, bro, don't even worry
Really?
about it,
Okay,
bro.
that's good for me because I was so nervous as soon as I got the microphone.
Yeah.
I literally probably said,
He said.
Joseph is a great friend of mine. I wish him the
best.
best
Yeah.
in marriage.
I kind of remember it was super short.
It
bro.
was like, I
was
probably
like-
said 10 words. Yeah, I had no
Bro,
idea
it
what
was
to
like,
say.
yeah, like you'd have to loop it like 4 or 5 times to like get. Like,
A full minute?
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
bro.
yeah. I
It
was
wasn't
so
long,
embarrassed.
But honestly, I loved it, bro. Like I loved your heart and I loved everybody that spoke. But yeah, like going back to marriage, like, and it was a beautiful day. We got married.
It was.
Literally right across from the ocean, and like it was so nice, man. We paid for a whole wedding in cash, literally physically cash. Like it was a blessing. But it causes you to grow up, and it's one of those things. Like I'm big on relationships too because I've learned firsthand like what bad relationships bring versus what good relationships bring. And for me, it's like I realized that until I started becoming the man that I knew I could be and holding myself accountable, like I always was like getting down on myself. Like I would always be like, Nicole, like, why are you nagging me? Why are you always picking on me? And it was like, she's not like, she just wanted to see the greatest version of myself. She married me seeing the greatest version of myself. And every day that I wasn't giving her that and that I don't give her that, it's doing a disservice to her. And I thought it was nagging, but really it was like, dude, no, like, you're better than this. Like, and I'd just be like, be quiet. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But really, like, she was calling me up to, like, be something better. And once I started realizing that and, like, like, dude, like, I need to grow up, like, relationally. And, when you're married, like, 2 parties are bringing in 2 different backgrounds, 2 different, like,
Families
messes and whatever. And you have to come together and, like, figure out not to compete with one another, but, like, how to truly complement one another. And Nicole and I are both strong people. We're both type A personality, achiever mindset. We actually did, like, that personality test. We're the same type A achiever, and we're the same subtype, which is dreamer. I don't remember what the subtype is.
Yeah.
We're the exact same.
Yeah.
So, like, that's beautiful, but it also can be this if you don't know how to manage it, right? Like, we're both driven, we're both on fire, which can lead to, like, one feeling neglected of, like, not getting poured into each other's gifts as much. Because, like, I'm so focused and, like, go, go, go. She's so focused, go, go, go. But then each other's like, when are you helping me go,
when
go,
you're
go,
pouring
and
into
when am I
me and when I'm
helping you?
pouring,
And
yeah.
it's like, when I realized, like, I just need to start giving more to her and more for her and, like, just becoming my best version. That is really, like, when things really start to go.
Started
But,
taking off.
you figure it out every day. You figure out who each other are. And, we obviously have a beautiful little daughter now, and we're so blessed by that. And just planting those right seeds into her is a big deal. So marriage has helped me tremendously in this process. I literally would not be 100th of the person I am right now without Nicole. I give her full, like, aside from God, I give her the biggest credit. Because, like, she has completely called me up through the years. We've been married 7, together for 10, though. We got together when I was 17. And, like, it was like, dude, from day one, she's been like, you're better than that. You're better than that. You're better than that. And I always be like, dude, just stop. Like, let me just be an idiot, But it's like, no, like, she saw the better in me.
It's because sometimes you don't want to change, even though...
100%.
But it hits different when your partner is speaking that into you and know, like, within yourself that I can do better. And they're calling you out on it. So sometimes it is a little bit much because we don't want to change our ways.
Hard, dude.
Yeah,
and it's like, you want to be like the man for this person. You want to be the guy,
Yeah, you want to lead and
It's like, dude, like, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to help you, bro. Like, and I'm just like, whoa, okay, that made a big difference. Once I shifted my perspective to that, which is, I feel like it's just happened recently, but there's a lot of time that we went through together that was really hard, because we come in with different messes. I come from a house that the man had an affair and, like, just a bunch of craziness, And so, you know, I repeated some of that mess, and then she comes from a background of just no one being stable for her either. And so, you know, she came in a little volatile, and it was like we were trying to find this like place of like, you know, this is, you know, your mess, this is your mess. Really, for her, she came in great. It really was just me, but just the fact that she accepted me and showed me grace so many times through our relationship. And now I feel like I'm at the point where I could like somewhat look at myself in the mirror and be like, dude, I'm proud of you. Like, you're headed on the right track. Like, that makes a big difference.
It does make a huge difference.
It has grown me up a ton, dude. Like, God, I give the most credit to, and then she's second credit, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been huge.
And then having, you know, a little girl that probably ended up playing a bigger role into her.
Dude.
Like, I don't know if you guys planned it. I don't know if that's okay to ask or
100%.
Or if it happened.
She wasn't like officially planned, right? Like, obviously, like we weren't not, you know.
Yeah. Of course,
not trying, but it was one of those things where like it wasn't like the point we wanted to go.
So was it scary? Like,
100%.
Did you feel like you weren't ready for it?
Well, dude, like I quit September. She found out she was pregnant October.
Wow.
You know, you have more time on your hands, I guess.
Yeah.
She wasn't working a job. She gets pregnant, right? And it was like, here she is, and like, I remember we went to Vegas for a business conference, and she's like, babe, I feel like crap. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I just feel sick. I'm like, are you coming down with something? She's like, I don't know, dude, but we gotta leave. So we left, you know, and we had to pay tickets for this thing. We left, went back to our Airbnb, which was across Vegas, and like just laid down like all night. I think we actually finished the event. It was the first night. We drove all day, got there. Oh, this is what we did. We drove all day. We got there at like 6 p.m. The event started at 7. And Vegas is super nice. I'm not a big Vegas guy, like the Strip, but outside of it, like the town is super nice. Like it's spread out. The roads are super big. They have good restaurants.
They are. It is nice.
Like if Vegas didn't have the Strip and all that craziness, like I probably would live there or like do more there. And maybe God willing, you know, I will one day. But you know, I'm just not a big fan of like all the craziness there. But and none of the locals actually really go to the Strip. Other people that are just like, you know, avid gamblers. But yeah, and I just know that because there was a few people I used to actually teach training to that lived in Vegas. And a couple of them really took off with it. I hope they're doing well. Shout out Joel and Nate. Nate was at the wedding, bro.
Yeah. Nate was in the groom's party. Yeah.
Always liked him because I was like, hey, bro.
Yeah, super cool guy. I saw he got married too.
Yeah,
I don't know if he has any kids yet, but
yeah, I used to mess with him because I'm like, hey, bro, like we're white chocolate. Our wives are dark, you know, dark chocolate.
Oh yeah.
With our wives both being, you know, African American, but it was so we always joked on that. But he ended up really taking off of trading. One of the greatest guys I've met, even to this day. Like just big heart. So shout out to him. But yeah, dude. So you know, we're at the
so you guys
conference,
and she gets sick.
She got pregnant. And, you know, it was one of those things, we were on unemployment at the time. Like, I literally, and the crazy story with that, too. So, I quit. You're not supposed to get unemployment if you quit.
If you quit, yeah.
It's if you get, like, let go and it's, like, extreme circumstances or whatever.
Yeah.
And with COVID, like, everyone was getting unemployment.
Yeah.
No one was
well, you can, I think during COVID, even if you quit, you're still...
So I think that may have been what happened, but this was tail end of 21, so it was kind of like not as lenient. I was kind of like getting it when everyone else was getting off of it.
Got it.
So it wasn't like the COVID, like anyone's
because people were making more money during COVID on unemployment than they were making while they were working. 100%. It was a wild time, yeah.
But like I was kind of late, you know, and I wasn't doing it for that anyways. I know, you know, some people I think were. I didn't. It wasn't actually my plan. It just money wasn't coming in. I'm like, bro, I got rent, I got bills, blah blah blah. But I remember the dude on the phone was like, hey dude, like, I don't know why I'm accepting your application. Like, I shouldn't be. He literally told me this. He's like, but I'm gonna accept it. And this was in like November, so we were just living off savings for a few months. And he was like, I'm just gonna accept it. Like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And he like hung up. Like he didn't even like say goodbye. He just hung up. I remember I was sitting outside the gym on the phone. Nicole's in the gym working out. I'm like, oh crap, like, okay.
Like,
so
thank God, yeah.
A few grand a month, and that, you know, paid the bills.
Held you over.
Yeah, held us over, and we were able to like put a little bit back into savings, and like, you know, until things started taking off more with like trading and just things we were doing. But yeah, the kid was like at, you know, all of was at such a crazy like crucial time, and
Yeah.
you grow up with that
And that's
too,
got to be
bro.
scary, bro. Like,
Yeah, it
I
was
can't
scary
imagine.
and
Yeah.
like exciting at the same time. Like it's like, okay, like this is just happening. Like you just have to accept it. Like you can't go back, nor would you want to. Like at that point, obviously, but like it was like, okay, we're having a child. Like we need to prep for that, mentally, spiritually, physically, whatever. Like we need to be prepped for that. And I remember Nicole. She's a track athlete. She's training for the 2028 LA Olympics right now. Actually, she's with.
Wow. She's
U-
always been super athletic.
yeah, she's
and
with the USA track team, registered with them, and she's being trained independently locally here. And she runs super fast. She's not even
wow,
like,
dude, shout out
she's
to
like
her.
a
Yeah.
third of a second from like the gold medal time. Like she's super fast. Like she's insane, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's so cool when I'm out there watching her. I'm just like so proud of her. But
Yeah.
at the time, she just started training for it. But she found out she was pregnant. The day she found out she was pregnant, she was maxing squats at the gym. She did like 275 like 8 times, which is a lot for a woman, bro. That would kill me right now, dude.
I don't even squat that, bro.
Straight bar too, like not
Yeah.
the stuff you push that anyone could do 1,000 pounds on. Like
Yeah.
the stuff straight racked.
Yeah,
3
the
plates
barbell.
3 plates on each side, and just and that was the day she found out she was pregnant.
Oh my
she wasn't even
God.
feeling good, dude. And I was like, dude, you're a beast, right?
Yeah.
And that night after Bible study we went to, we took 2 pregnancy tests, and she found out she was positive, and like we just cried in the bathroom and just were
Oh
like,
my
well,
God,
like
yeah.
this is happening. So, and it's so beautiful, and we're so blessed to have our little one, and like that too, like you got to grow up too when you have a kid. Like
100%.
bro,
Yeah.
it's like now they're looking to use the example, and I know not everyone looks at it this way, and it's okay. Like I get it, everyone's in a different place, but like when you have a child, they're watching you as an example, whether you're being a good example or not. And I'm not trying to sound like the dad here, but like you know, I realized like again, I saw the importance of who you're around and the seeds you plant, like how important that is, and I realized I am not gonna I refuse to let my daughter grow up and be raised how I was raised, in the way of like a broken family, like not the strongest values, not seeing people at dinner together. Like I refuse, dude. Not having God in their life. Like I refuse. Like I will not have that be my family. And that's just my convictions. Everyone's got different convictions. Like, I
no, and
totally
those are
understand.
great values. Yeah.
But those are just our values and beliefs, and so that's what we've been pouring into her. And dude, she is just the most amazing kiddo. And